Welcome to another episode of the Independent Creator Podcast. I'm your humble host, Josh, and on tonight we will be talking about the benefits of communities for your particular audience, and especially for content creators, and the humble beginnings of a community for content creators with like forums, and it has moved into Slack. Actually, this TeamSpeak, then Discord, now Gilded, Matrix, Revolt. Wherever we're going to be all talking about that tonight on this episode of the Independent Creator Podcast. So strap in, folks. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Now, we all remember, if you've been around, if you've been alive this long, pretty much online communities started with BBS. This is like precursor. This is early days of the internet. I'm going to skip all that because most of you will probably are not in the age range. I really didn't have any experience with that as well. But what I did have a lot of experience with was forums. And what forums are a website that collects your members' thoughts, their postings, their day-to-day whatevers, and it pretty much talks about whatever the discussion of that forum particularly might be. It could be a general forum that a lot of topics and discussions happen about all different sorts of topics, or it could be a more specialized where you talk about one particular niche or a topic. Let's say podcasting. There's a few podcasting forums out there that are probably still around. Forums haven't really have lost a lot of their audience per se with the influx of Facebook and quick hits of social media, networking, stuff like that. And it's kind of like a shame to see that forums have not really claimed or reclaimed what they were before, because one, they are a great resource in getting things together, easily searchable online, that you can post up on Bing or Google or DuckDuckGo or anywhere. And if you want to look for information on one particular subject or something else, most of the times you might find that in a forum. Unfortunately, that has been taken over by Reddit. A lot of the stuff, information, knowledge base of or knowledge for everything that we deal with has kind of been swallowed up by Reddit as like a centralized place. Now, that's not a bad thing per se. It's also could be perceived as a blessing or a curse, really. Especially when we think about what happened with the recent Reddit apocalypse, with it killing off third-party API access and the mod revolt and then purging of mods within many subreddits. And Reddit is not really the place that it once was. It's kind of the information that is being coalesced and presented as facts, and as this, here you go, here's your knowledge, is not really the best quality, because the people who took care of the subreddits were unpaid volunteers, and they had the passion and the know-how. I want to say, I'm speaking as plain as possible. I'm not going to go into any like subreddit politics or what is or isn't, what should be happening there. But great majority of the unpaid moderators, they were there to help bring their subreddit to life, to keep it, within that niche or whatever topic or whatever whatever niche that they were talking about there. And unfortunately, with recent happenings at Reddit, it's just, like I said, it just hasn't been the same since. Now, forums, I'm not going to say that forums were any better, because many of the forums were put together or run by one, two, or maybe a small group of people that had a passion and the know-how to start up an online community with using forums. Now, forums come in different shapes and sizes. There is the free one that is still out there. is PHBB. It's still kicking around. There's also the other one. It's MyBB. It's those two are like the free ones, but unfortunately, their development has slowed quite a lot. There isn't really, because the reason why is because it really isn't any um what's the word, excitement for forums anymore. And so the free ones were, again, volunteers of people who are running these projects, and they don't do this as a paid gig. They do this on their free time, and they have a life to live as well. Now there are paid options that are available for if you are a content creator who wants to set up your own forum. Well, there's two different software that I can show you here. One is it's called Zenfuro. Now, back in the day, we had V Bulletin had their pretty much a monopoly. It wasn't really a monopoly, but it was kind of like the go-to standard for for bulletin boards and forums. And two people who used to work at V Bulletin decided, you know what, the way the company is going, we can do something better, and we can shape something that we can do. So they decided to create Zenfuro. Now, I've used Zenfuro pretty much from the very beginning, and with many different forums and different sites that I've worked on and ran, and then closed up and started new. And it's just going through the whole process of their complete packaging has been getting better and better with it with each iteration. Now, it's not to say that a paid service is any better than a free service. In fact, it could be a blessing, because not only do you have a paid service that you know you're paying money to, that your customer service aspect is much better because you have more people that are incentivized in making sure the paid product is up to date, is being developed like constantly, it's completely up to date and constantly working on new things. And that's the great thing about using a paid service. Now, when it started, of course, we're talking about many, many, many years ago. It was a lot cheaper than what it is now. I think it's what let's take a quick look into. Let me go to let's see, pricing. So right now, they also offer a cloud, but if we do self-hosted, which means you take the software, you have your own hardware for your hosting, like server, and you can put the software on it, and you're done. It's all you gotta do is pay for it. So it's $160. Now it wasn't that way before. This is like $160, and it is you have to pay per year if you want continuing support. Now, that means if after your year is done, then that does not mean that you can't use the software anymore. You can. It's just that you won't be able to have access to the updates, security, infrastructure, backbone, whatever you want to call it, kind of updates. So that's one part of you're paying for a software service. Think of it as like a one of these live service type games. You want to get the fancy skins. You want to keep it up to date. Have your battle pass going. I know it's